a warning?
There ain't nothing to worry about.
I'm worried that you work in an office, have children, celebrate wedding anniversaries. The world of heterosexual is a sick and boring life.
Did you have anything, I don't care how small it was, did you have anything to do with the way Claude got drowned?
What makes you ask that, Mother?
Now look me in the eye and tell me the truth, because I must know.
No, Mother, I didn't.
You're not going back to the Fern School next year. They don't want you anymore.
Okay.
I'm going to call Miss Fern and have her come over here.
You think I lied to her?
You did lie to her.
But not to you, Mother, not to you.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming.
Welcome back to the show, listeners.
Welcome back.
Scott, I have a question for you.
What?
What would you give me for a basket of kisses?
A basket of kisses?
Oh, God. It felt creepy saying it.
Well, slap you across the face is what I'm going to give you.
Listeners, you're really in for it this week.
Oh, we got to this movie. I'm excited to talk about it.
Very excited. My name's Pete.
And I'm Scott. And these are the movies that made us gay.
Yes.
Emily Ollero Jones from Female Driven. Welcome back on.
Welcome back to the show.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. You stole my line.
It's a good one.
I was just going to come in hot with that.
Yeah. I think we're all coming in hot with this one. It's very quotable, but weird, icky quotes.
Yeah.
It does make me feel kind of gross. Like you need to take the Silkwood shower after you watch this movie.
Yeah, totally.
So we're going into December. This is the first episode of December. We are recording a little out of order, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But we're about to go into the holiday season, and for the last movie that we're doing before our Christmas lineup, you know I love a good themed Christmas lineup.
Yes, you do.
I wanted to get to a huge banger of a movie that we've been saving for a special occasion.
Yeah.
For a big, gay cult movie that just brings the house down. And what perfect of a time to do The Bad Seed, directed by Mervyn LeRoy, screenplay by John Lee Mayon. The film is based on the 1954 play by the same name by Maxwell Anderson, which in turn is based on William March's 1954 novel of the same name. Release date, September 12th, 1956.
All right, The Bad Seed.
The Bad Seed. Okay, Emily, before we get into the Bad Seed conversation, side combo, did you see the article that I sent you today on Nicole Kidman commenting on the divorce photo?
Wait, no, did you send it on Instagram?
I think I sent it on. I think I sent it to the podcast Instagram. But Nicole Kidman just did
Don't ruin it. I'm gonna look.
Okay.
Hold on, wait.
So you're talking about
Scott and I text each other. Scott and I text each other about Nicole Kidman a lot.
It's usually about Nicole Kidman.
I mean,
so she
all the
commented
time.
on the famous divorce photo that the internet has latched itself onto.
Walking out of her lawyer's
Yep.
office, rejoicing into the sunlight.
Yeah.
Wait,
as a
this one that
single
says
woman.
"Baby Ratu truly delivers on every front." That.
Oh, I don't
Is that
know.
what you said? It says, "Baby girl, I'm so ready for this insane double feature this Christmas."
Oh no! Oh yeah!
Wait.
There's like it's like Baby Girl and Nosferatu are on the same day. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's that,
you said-
but then I sent something else. So Nicole is claiming that that's not the context of that photo.
Okay.
But she says, so Nicole claims that she was on set for something when that was taken, but it's very mysterious because what movie?
Like she's in character?
Like she's in character.
No, she's not. She's
But
lying.
that's the thing
I
is
got
that
it. I
it's
see.
very mysterious that you don't really know what she's talking about for that
Yeah.
it was on set for a movie, but in the early 2000s.
She never had her natural curly
I
hair.
don't
in
know
movies like
what
that.
it would have been for.
It's a lie.
So
That was her real hair, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's her real
I
hair
don't
in
know
that
if I
photo.
completely buy that.
No, we don't buy it. That's her real hair in the photo. She never had her curly hair in movies post, the drag racing movie.
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
So
Not even in Far and Away. Was that a wig? you
I
said?
think
Her hair in Far Away is curly.
is it curly in
Yeah,
Far Away?
it's
Okay.
it's
all right.
curly
And
in Far
Eyes
Away.
Wide Shut.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not that natural curl though, an Eyes Wide Shut. I feel like it's more of like
because you're thinking about like those classic
curl.
Modeling shots of Nick from the 80s
with that really tight coil.
To Die For. Oh my God. Oh, speaking of To Die For.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think, and also the wardrobe. What is this?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if I completely buy it. Who knows if the context actually is divorce, but I don't know if I'm completely buying that it was taken from a movie set.
No,
so
I love
think
that
it's. I think
picture
it's still mysterious.
I love that picture. Too.
I think it's still mysterious. I do kind of like that nobody really knows for sure.
Maybe she didn't mean like I'm in character, in costume, being shot with a film camera. Maybe she's like, I was.
Which character?
Maybe she was doing like exercises and getting ready to put the lime in the coconut and dance around the table.
Because when did she get divorced? Like 2001? 2000?
I think that probably paperwork was done in late 2001, probably.
Yeah, because that was the year of like Moulin Rouge, but she
Moulin
would have
Rouge and the
shot
others.
that already.
Yeah.
So she would have been. So she would have been making something like The Hours, but that was.
I know that's definitely not a character.
That's definitely
for
not
the
in
Europe. Yeah,
but I don't know. But it's still a mystery. I need to actually read the print form where she comments on it.
I need to find the notary public that like notarized the divorce proceedings.
We need to do like a big deep dive on this. But yeah,
get CCTV.
I just read that today, and it made me think of you.
Yeah, I'm a huge Nicole stan. We were texting about our top 5 Nicoles last night, I think. So that would be its own episode.
Oh, absolutely, definitely, that could be its own episode. This is what I have to say to her response to that photo.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that was true. That's a big no from Nicole. All right, Scott.
Anyways,
shall we get into this?
The Bad
movie?
Seed.
Yes.
We have to get into this crazy ass movie. That okay. So I was thinking today that my background with The Bad Seed. I want to say that I remember watching bits of this movie. I don't think that I actually watched all of it, but I remember that I was in a hotel room with my mom and TCM was on and The Bad Seed was on. And my mom was like, oh, this movie's crazy. I remember this movie from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That this movie just for an entire generation of boomers, everybody remembers this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And our mothers were roughly the same age, a couple years apart, and they're about 10 to 13 years younger than Rhoda. Than,
so it would have probably been a movie that they just would have seen on television.
Right.
Yeah.
They would have just grown up with. Emily, what is your background with this movie? How far back do you go watching The Bad Seed?
Well, this was actually a favorite of one of my teachers in high school. Wow. So he showed it every year. He was a psych teacher. So he showed it. He showed it every year. My older sister, she was 2 years ahead of me, but she was obsessed with it. After they watched it, she and her friend made T-shirts with Rhoda on the T-shirt, and because this would have been like the early 2000s, so there was no like Etsy, like they had to
make it yourself
with Rhoda.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I love
that.
That
was the first time I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see it for the longest time, but I grew up on The Good Son.
Sure, which is kind of an unofficial remake.
That's the unofficial remake,
yeah.
Right? So I always remember when The Good Son came around, and just all the talk of like, okay, this is just it's very reminiscent of The Bad Seed, and kind of my mom talking about like, oh yeah, it's just like this creepy movie from like, when she was a kid or whatever, but never actually having seen it. And I think the first time I saw it was
probably with me
watching it.
We've actually had proper television our entire time that we've been together. We're those type of people that we have to have
like
channels.
We still have cable.
We still have cable, and I have to have TCM.
Yeah.
I have to have it.
Even though now you can still just can you just get the TCM app? Like,
no, I think
Max.
that you still need a cable subscription to get the app.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think I might have texted you when I was in Palm Springs because I was texting you, but it was like, I think I was there over Mother's Day weekend because I was sitting in the hotel room and I turned on TCM and of course they had Mildred Pierce was on.
Yeah.
And then also Imitation of Life.
Sure.
So I was just having a great
Love
time
it.
watching TCM in my hotel room in Palm Springs.
You know, I mean, not that TCM needs any sort of like advertisement from us or anything, but they're like the last cable channel that is just sticking to their guns.
Properly curated too. And
you know what I mean? Like, you know, you turn on BBC America and it's like
Eraser.
Yeah.
Or Batman and Robin.
Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger on BBC America. Why? You know?
Do you remember A&E? Do you remember what A&E used to be?
It used to be
in
the
Bravo?
crime station.
It was arts and
Bravo.
entertainment. Yeah. Bravo was like the opera.
They would show opera, and
the theater.
they would show like the Pride and Prejudice miniseries.
Yes. Yeah. TLC would actually show like proper like home reno
Arts
stuff.
and
You could learn
arts and
something.
entertainment, and then A&E just sort of got into this true crime niche where they had a lot of made for television documentaries. They call this phenomenon an entertainment channel drift.
Sure.
Yep.
Same with History Channel.
They've
right?
just strayed from the path. They're no longer what they've intended to be. But TCM, they're still like just cranking out those classics. And it's showing the Imitation of Life like on a Sunday afternoon.
And everything is curated. Like it's just not an algorithm.
Yeah.
It's like it's properly programmed by people.
Programming it. So
By movie nerds, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so we still have we have streaming cable right now, so we always are able to watch.
We watched it streaming on demand from TCM.
Yes,
too.
we did, and it was a lovely, decent stream. I don't it wasn't 4K or anything, but it's come on, this movie's in like a tiny aspect ratio. It's not.
So I feel like we return back to The Bad Seed every couple of years, probably when it gets re-aired on TCM and it's on demand.
Yeah,
yeah, but. We properly watched it last night, and it's probably been a good while that we watched it from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's been a good year or two
that
since
we
we sat
gave
down
it
and
like a
watched it.
proper rewatch.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about this movie. This movie is insane. I mean, I think that people always give props to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho for just being this shocking piece of entertainment that just sort of took the world by storm. But I mean, I guess The Bad Seed was doing it in 1956.
This was called The Shocker.
Yeah. And even its advertising like leaned into how bananas this movie was. That I think that they may have even given it an adult rating, that you needed to be an adult to see this movie about a crazy child.
And it was a toned down version of the stage.
Right. Yep.
Hey, yeah.
So in the stage production
from 1954. Yep.
Rhoda, the bad seed, the titular bad seed. She doesn't. She lives, right?
Yeah, and the mother dies.
The mother dies, so they flippity doo that ending, and that's from the book. That's straight from the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what I didn't realize, what Scott kind of mentioned yesterday, is that the book is released in 54.
Yeah,
54.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The stage production comes out immediately, and the movie is like boom, fast track.
So I was seeing
like 56.
There was a bidding war for this book and just this material, and Warner purchased the film rights in probably 1954, maybe late 1954, 1955, for $300,000. If you do the inflation math, that is $3.5 million
Nice.
that they were investing in this material of The Bad Seed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the book just took America by storm, and I think the show would have been wild since they were pretty much the exact same cast, right?
Almost exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, mainly our main stars,
The main three.
Patty McCormick as Rhoda, Nancy Kelly. Oh my God, Nancy Kelly as Christine Penmark.
What a voice!
What a performance!
I'm obsessed with her voice.
I love her in this movie.
Yeah.
And who's the third that came from the show? Was it? Oh my gosh!
I sent Scott right before we started. I sent him a little clip of Eileen Heckart and Shirley Booth doing a little back and forth.
We'll have to post that.
Mrs.
It's amazing. He's teaching her how to be
Daigle.
sexy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that
It's
sounds
really good.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I need to watch this. But Mrs. Daigle, Hortense. We'll talk talk about this performance and like the degree of drunken batshit like this performance is. But so good, amazing. But okay, so we talked a little bit about that the ending was shifted for the movie, and that's because of the
production code.
The production code, right? And the production code specifically saying that the villain has to have some sort of comeuppance.
They have to be punished.
Yeah. But I think that like growing up on movies and TV in the, I was a kid in the 80s, a teenager in the 90s. So everything that I was consuming was either current or older, like from the 70s and 60s. I just think that production code kind of ethic of the villain being punished just kind of got ingrained in me. And like, well, if I see a movie, the villain's going to die, or the villain's going to get theirs. They're going to end up behind bars or captured or dead. And I just think that the actual ending of this is like, that's the shocker, right? That's what's like, oh,
and
man.
Would you almost say it's one of the rare occurrences with classic Hollywood where the production code maybe helps this material? I would say so.
Yeah, you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Same with Double Indemnity, Scott.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I think there's something to a story, especially like this, where it's child, because now they've got their whole life ahead of them, and like if they did this at this age, what the hell else are they going to go on to do? So I think it's something like, I don't know. I think there would be something ominous about Rhoda walking away, or just like the ending of the movie, walking up the stairs to go meet Monica to have her sun bath. Yeah. On the roof, that's just so like creepy. That would work. That would be something that you would see in like a Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt or something like that. But I think in a movie, maybe at that time they really had to end that way. And it is satisfying.
And LeRoy was like, I got you.
Mervyn.
Yeah. Mervyn was like, I got you.
Producer of The Wizard of Oz, Mervyn.
Producer of The Wizard of Oz. And also your last episode, Little Women, he directed the June Allison version.
Oh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The June Allison version, which we love.
Yeah.
Have you watched all of the Little Women's yet?
Not yet. I was getting ready for work. I was watching television a little bit before I left the house at 3:30 a.m. because that's how early I have to get to work now. And that version of Little Women was on. Mm-hmm. So I watched just a little snippet of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so good.
At 3:30 in the morning.
And we recorded an episode on the Winona Ryder one like a year ago.
Yep.
We sure did.
I think that was one of the
almost exactly
that was one of the first episodes of December too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was so fun.
Man, there are some people in this cast that
is everybody's birthday like pre-1900?
There are some old people in this movie. I mean, it's
Henry Jones.
Oh my God.
He had to have been born in the 19th century, right?
LeRoy was actually born in the 20th century. He just looked very old.
Oh, well, he was just born the year the Titanic
He was
sank.
born in 1912.
1912. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
People just looked a lot older,
He just
didn't
looked
they?
a lot older. But there's people that are uncredited further down. And this one woman, it looks like a Knott's Berry Farm, like old-timey photograph. Like Edna Holland is credited as sales lady, and then it says uncredited. So maybe it didn't even make the movie.
Was there a sales lady in the movie?
But this photo is like, what is this? Miss
1895.
Miss
She lived to
Gulch.
1982. Good for her. What about the woman who played Monica? She looks like she could have been
Monica, my third favorite.
I can't with this character. She's the one that drives me like crazy.
Okay, Evelyn Varden was in fact born in 1893.
Nice.
So
wow.
She looked her age. She was born,
icon.
She passed away in 1958, so not long after this movie.
Aww.
And she was 65 years old. Yeah.
That's crazy because that's not much older than my mother now.
I was going to say.
That's
You look so old.
They look so, yeah.
Yeah.
So she was 63 in this movie? And
my mom is 62 now.
Yeah.
And she looks a hell of a lot better than
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Scott's mom is around that age too, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
How?
Well, we don't get those great voices without all the smoking and boozing
And the drinking, yeah, exactly.
hard living, do we?
Monica's voice. I mean, we were talking a little bit about Christine's voice. All three of the adult women,
I'm obsessed with their voices.
all of their voices are wild. Even Miss Fern to an extent. I feel like Miss Fern is she's just very prissy. Like,
is she
marm.
Okay, so she's the woman.
She's the school
teacher.
teacher. Yeah,
The teacher.
well, Miss Fern of Miss Fern's school.
Miss
They refer to it as
school.
They refer to it as Miss Fern's school.
I
Like,
just
she's the
pictured
head mistress.
her calling in the children with like a bell.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, here's the thing about kind of the progression to this movie that comes out in 1956, that all three of these women had done this role 300 times on the stage.
Wow.
I think that's the interview that we saw with Patty McCormick. She said it was over 300 performances. And she says that her performance, I mean, really all three of them, that this is them fully evolved in these characters that they know so well. So they're operating at like 10 in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're not holding back. They're performing for, like Trixie Mattel says, the check cashing place.
Yeah.
They're outside of the theater around the block.
Yeah, they're not performing for the back row. They're like, they're down the street. They're at the they're at the Popeyes on Cahuenga.
Yeah.
And at Cahuenga in Hollywood.
But yeah, so and it's just so much fun and very camp just to see all three of them just operating on this they're going fully at like 10.
So they know the characters inside and out, so they're able to like be fully realized as in these roles. But on the other hand, what I read in my research is that I guess maybe Mervyn LeRoy got a little criticism for these are clearly stage performances in a film.
Yep.
And
because usually film work is a little more subtle.
Maybe you as a director should pull them back and have them be a little bit more.
Especially the scene when Rhoda is like, "Don't I have the most beautiful mother?"
Just stroking her cheek.
It's
Just
so
stroking her cheek. I have the most beautiful mother.
Sweetest mother.
Oh my. But I think that is what makes Rhoda effective, because every time she does that, I want to grab her by the shoulders and just shake the hell out of her. Because the whole time I'm just like, slap her, Christine, slap her, Christine, just slap her.
You know what I kept thinking about as I looked at Rhoda was the Megan, that movie.
Sure.
Oh.
I was like, wow.
Get a lot of Megan, get a lot of Orphan. What's her name in
isn't
Orphan?
this kind of the genesis of just the evil child movie?
Creepy little girl.
That it just
Especially
kind
the
of
creepy girl.
it created this entire cinematic
Archetype,
cliche of just the evil child.
I mean, this look is... I mean, the characters do comment on Rhoda being kind of a little prissy for her age, and we see the other girls at the picnic in blue jeans or wearing their dungarees.
And they even comment on it. Like,
the adults...
wouldn't you be more comfortable just wearing pants?
So, okay, so that's kind of understood, but also the look that she's giving off, like the pinafore with crinolines and the braids and the severe bangs that come to a point, like a Romulan. But I also think that was kind of like, that's just kind of how you dress little kids.
Especially little kids in movies and television.
Yeah.
Too.
It's like a doll, yeah.
Yeah, but then the other thing is that in the movie, there's a line, and, Patty had been playing this role for a few years. Rhoda's 8. And Patty McCormack don't look 8 in this movie.
She's like 10,
She's a little too tall, so there's something to me that gives off like she's a little too old to be this like
dressing
baby
like
dolled
that.
up. Yeah. Because I mean, it's a little Cindy Brady, like the hair and everything. And Cindy is not intended to be a creepy character.
Sure.
And
is it kind
10 years
is
later.
it kind of weird that they kept Cindy in the braid, like the pigtails,
the whole time,
the entire time?
Yeah, that's really
like,
weird.
You couldn't let the character grow up at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's its own ball of wax. But I mean, yeah. So the look, the archetype was just kind of like, sure, this is a little girl, but yeah, now it's become this creepy doll kind of a thing. She looks it's giving a little Annabelle, I guess. Just like
a little bit Annabelle,
like creepy face, but yeah. But I think so many things factor into it, and I think Patty McCormick being maybe a little too tall for this dress and a little too, she's clearly not 8 anymore. She's 10 or 11 now.
300 performances in.
Yeah. It's just
a veteran stage actress at 10 and a half.
Wow.
And then also in that interview that you sent me, did you see that Patty McCormick talked about having a recurring role on a CBS sitcom, Mama, that she was doing?
I Remember Mama.
She was doing both. She was doing both in like one night.
That's crazy.
That she would have to change in the cab ride over.
That's wild.
That's giving Michael J. Fox doing Family Ties during the day and
Back to the Future at night.
I think with this sitcom, she was taping live.
A sitcom that was live, yeah.
Live. So not even taping, like broadcasting live. And then she would have to like rush over to the theater to do Bad Seed.
And also Michael J. Fox was a grown adult man.
Yeah, this isn't like 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And she said that despite the hectic schedule that she never missed a performance. So the understudy never had to do it for her.
Consummate professional.
Oh my God, I love it.
And you love how she talked about how she and Nancy Kelly would like get lunch from Sardi's together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when I first saw this movie, I just kind of took it at face value. And yes, some of them are giving kind of bigger than life performances. I just felt like that was the Monica Breedlove character. And I just thought that, raising Rhoda for 8 years would kind of turn any woman into
a crazy woman,
this ball of nerves
that
Christine is throughout this movie. And I think I like her performance. I think she's really giving off just like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? It's like, there's a point I would imagine as a mother where you can go full like Tilda Swinton in what's that movie where the kid...
We need to talk about Kevin?
No, not we need to talk about Kevin. The one where
that's also a Bad Seed movie too.
That's a Bad Seed movie too.
Yeah.
But the other one where the son is
the deep end.
The deep end.
Sure, where she covers up a murder for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where she just like, oh, you killed that guy in the boat on the lake. All right, well, let's go fucking throw his body in the river.
It reminds me a little bit of Ginger Snaps too, with Mimi Rogers.
Sure. I think there's a point where a mother will like say, all right, like let's fucking get rid of the body. Like if anybody's your person that's gonna help you get rid of the body, maybe it's your mom. But then on the other hand, it's like I don't know. With Rhoda, it's okay. There's no like this is. I guess sociopath. I don't know. Was that a thing?
Psychopath.
Then?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of just kind of psychoanalysis with this material. That's probably why when you watch this at school, it's just because it's that like nature versus nurture discussion that I bet was probably pretty new in the 50s to talk about, especially with children.
Yeah.
And even like psychology is kind of an overlying theme in this movie too.
Well, I think that the 50s, I think that was like the height of Freud mania in the United States for sure. So, yeah.
I love Monica's little anecdote about like, I did meet Dr. Freud. And just like, oh my God.
Everything is traced back to your parents too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah,
with
anything Freud.
School,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole nature versus nurture, but they're kind of like, the argument's weird in the movie about it. They're very much like, well, no, it couldn't possibly be nature. It has to be, how your environment and all of that. So I don't know, I guess, but I guess the whole argument is like, well, maybe it can be, maybe she's born with it.
Maybe it's
maybe it's sociopathy.
maybe it's Christine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the idea of having a serial killer in your family is not exactly the right path to nature versus nurture, but also
then wouldn't Christine also be a crazy killer too?
Everyone knows the serial killer gene skips a generation.
Okay.
Well, and also a serial killer that's a woman.
Yes.
Too.
Ooh.
Which that would have blown people's minds at that time.
Yeah.
That was even that would
so interesting.
Even be a thing.
So interesting that it wasn't Christine's mystery birth father. It was her it was her birth mother. Yeah,
wow.
Very interesting choice.
Wow.
Yeah. But okay, so we've been talking about these performances, but for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, a brief synopsis, because we have to get into I want to get into some of the details about poor what was his name? Claude.
Oh, Claude.
Poor Claude Daigle.
Claude Daigle. Okay, so I remember watching this with a very good friend of ours, and I remember her telling us, it was our friend Naomi, that I can't remember the neighbor woman who I see every single day, but I will always remember the little boy from the Bad Seed, Claude Daigle. There's just something about that name that is just kind of burned into your brain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows Rhoda had the better
hand.
Had the better hand. Than Claude Daigle.
I love the flowery dialogue in this movie where Rhoda says and Claude Daigle, she gave Claude the gold badge, and everyone knows I've got the better hand. The better
That's
hand.
good.
Do they even teach penmanship anymore in school?
Oh, yeah.
I remember having to do lines when I was a kid.
Yeah, we
and
learned
learn
cursive in second grade, I think.
But I think it's a big thing now that some schools are not teaching cursive.
And I remember when I went to junior high, cursive was optional, and I was like, I will not be needing this anymore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cursive, I was okay.
My mother has a beautiful signature.
Well,
because of this time.
Yeah. Certain generation.
That's my grandmother. I've noticed all older people, they kind of have a standardized beautiful cursive handwriting. Yes.
My Aunt Margie, lefty. Margie, she's a lefty, but she was born in the 40s, and they forced her to write with her right hand. And so she writes her beautiful old lady penmanship with her right hand and does everything else lefty. And they would smack her on the back of the hand with a ruler because she went to Catholic school. Yep.
I'm a lefty. I feel that one.
Yeah. I could not imagine and getting the ink all over the hand and the spiral on the wrong side.
Ink.
Oh my goodness! Especially some pens, you would know which pens not to use because that's just gonna smear the ink. Yeah, I feel like I would just get like a hand cramp if I would do too much cursive and just go back to big block letters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is it a lost art? I don't know. How often are we writing these days? No.
Oh, not often.
Not often.
I just got our Christmas cards this year, Pete. So you can
handwritten,
practice your
Christmas
your
letters.
cursive. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just a big box from the stationery store. So we're gonna have to fill them out personally.
Yeah.
But this whole thing with this damn penmanship badge. So okay, so the deal is, Rhoda gets passed over for the best penmanship, and Claude Daigle gets a medal, and they refer to it as a medal, a gold medal. So I'm thinking of
the only gold medal, Pete.
The only gold medal that Miss Fern gives all year.
Yeah,
and he gets it. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking of like a cowardly lion, like a little fabric with the metal on it?
I think so.
I'm thinking but they talk about it being like a pin with a clasp on the back and all of that.
I mean, it's almost like an enamel, like what we think of an enamel pin.
Yeah,
maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, but Rhoda gets passed over for it. She wants this damn badge. And poor Claude at this outing.
Yeah.
There's a school picnic.
There's a mysterious, accident at the picnic, and Claude just doesn't.
Claude ends up in the pond.
He ends up at the bottom of the pond.
Drowns.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Rhoda's whole thing is just like, well, it should have been mine.
Yeah.
She's just like, should have been mine.
Kind of has a very nonplussed, like, well.
So here's what I read again in my research, that in the book and I think the play, it was most improved penmanship. And so when Claude wins it, the whole thing, and Miss Fern tells her, well, you've always had beautiful penmanship. But Claude gets this award because he is the most improved this year. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of makes it even more irrational for Rhoda to want it that much.
She just wants a ribbon. She wants a prize. She wants the title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's very like Kath and Kim. Like, I'm the most improved. And it's like, well, no, not really. And so something about the change kind of in the movie, it maybe gives the audience a little bit more like, well, maybe she did have the best penmanship. Whereas if it was most improved, you would automatically be like, oh no, she's just pure evil because clearly she didn't improve at all. And
he just wants the medal.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what's better. I don't know what works better. If it's better to have it just be the best, and she was just like, well, no, I'm the fucking best, and this is
It's his fault that I killed him.
Yeah. If he didn't
done what I told him to do, I wouldn't have killed him.
All he needed to do was give me the medal, and everything would have been fine.
It's that type of weird reasoning that makes this character so interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in her mind, she's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Also, when she's like, why would he care if he had the medal or not? He's dead.
He's dead now. Yeah. Why do they want to bury him with it? What's the point of that? He won't know. Okay. So I want to talk about, we've talked a little bit about the dialogue, but I want to talk about some of the dialogue in this movie. Like we said, what would you give me for the basket of kisses? And haven't I got the prettiest mother? And all of this, the most beautiful mother, and all of this weird shit that comes out of Rhoda's mouth, and the way she manipulates the adults around her, right? Yeah. And maybe because Christine is her mother and is around her the most, that she's the one that sees through it.
It doesn't work on Christine anymore.
But even her father is just like, a basket of hugs, and
such a goober.
Yeah, the dad is just like
seems pretty absent too. Mm-hmm.
Kenneth.
Yeah, definitely absent. It's like he's so pointless. He doesn't even. But most of the adults, Monica in particular, fall for it. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a well-behaved girl. Oh, what a well-mannered girl. Always with the please and thank yous. And Christine doesn't buy it, and she's like freaking out about it. But LeRoy doesn't buy it either.
So creepy.
He's creepy, but he is onto her.
Is it just kind of game recognizes game?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. I think it might
when
be.
He's like, you're smart and mean, and I'm smart
and mean. Yeah. But there's just something about an adult arguing with a kid.
Yeah, you love that.
I love it. And I love when he's just like, he hasn't figured it out yet, but he knows something. So he's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. So he's like, oh, you hit him with a stick, and the stick got blood on it, and you threw the bloody stick in the lake. And she's just like, shut up, you idiot. There's no stick. But she's so proud that she won't just let it go. She's just she almost gives herself away.
Yeah.
As soon as he says something about a shoe, she's like, what? What shoe? She's very much like, she gives it away. And so, but I just love that, like, maybe LeRoy is just as horrible as she is, but he kind of sees what a piece of shit
he sees right through her.
And he just but he doesn't say like, hey, this little girl, like,
he doesn't tell anybody like her mother.
He just fucks
about
with
it.
her.
Give me those shoes back.
Oh, no, I got them shoes hid where no bottom of me can find
You
them.
better give me those shoes. They're mine. Give them back to me.
I ain't giving them shoes back to nobody.
You'd better give them back to me, Leroy.
I'm keeping them shoes. Who says I got anybody's shoes except my own?
You did. You get them and give them back.
I'm fooling you. I'm teasing you. I got nobody's shoes. I got work to do.
Give me back my shoes.
Yeah.
He just threatens to call the police.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if he ever would, because, I don't know, he's a layabout.
His performance was wild.
Crazy. While he should be working, he has fashioned himself a bed out of Excelsior to nap.
Excelsior. I had to wiki Excelsior.
So, okay, a good explainer for listeners if you're not familiar with Excelsior. Do you remember in A Christmas Story when he gets the package Fragile on it?
Must be Italian.
It must be Italian. And he opens it up and he starts pulling out like hay, right?
Yep.
It's packing cubes before there was packing cubes.
It was packing cubes before there was plastic.
There was no plastic and styrofoam, so they used this natural material.
We should probably go back to that, but who knows if it's actually who knows if it's actually good for you?
Yeah.
To like inhale.
And it was used in swamp coolers, apparently.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And used to stuff dolls and.
Ooh. Okay. So it's not quite like raffia. It's more like like
it almost looks like wood shavings.
Wood shavings. Yeah. And so so it's a packing material. It's like an insulator material, but it's natural and highly flammable,
as we see
in this movie. But they say Excelsior so much in this movie, and to modern audiences, we're just like,
what the hell?
Because Excelsior almost sounds like a drink. Like seltzer.
A
Yeah.
seltzer. Like a nice seltzer.
Yeah. But so when you find out what it is, you're like, oh, okay, that all makes sense. How does he make a bed out of seltzer?
And sleeps by the furnace.
Yeah.
I guess,
and this guy has a family. Monica mentions that he has children. And that's why she is employing him.
I don't think that he lives in the cellar. I think
likes to sleep in it.
That he gets there early in the morning, and we see him going through the house, and he like empties the trash cans, and he just does general handiwork. And so parts of the day where he's like, oh, maybe Monica and Rhoda are out shopping or whatever.
Take a nap.
I'm just gonna go take a nap down in the furnace. It's warm down there.
Probably get drunk and take a nap.
Yeah. So I think that's what the whole like Excelsior bed is. I think it's, and she knows about it. Rhoda knows,
Yeah.
So she's like, bro, you need to be working and you're sleeping down there. Like, what the fuck? So I think they each have a little something on each other.
I think that Patty mentioned in that interview that on stage, everything is the living room. And all of kind of her scenes with Leroy were in the living room. And then they kind of, to expand this movie, because here's the thing about this movie, it is very set bound. When you watch it, you're like, oh, this was a play. Yeah. In that 50s way that probably just with just sort of logistics of doing performances in the 50s, you only had to have one set.
Yeah.
Like probably just because of technology on stage, any kind of changeovers had to be limited. So everything was probably just the living room.
Yeah.
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 They did a fair job of expanding it. I thought the picnic by the little lake. And...
I would have liked to have seen, I mean, this movie is long. Is that this movie runs
over 2 hours
This movie
long.
runs over 2 hours. Like, here's the thing is probably if this was an hour and 40 minutes, I would be watching this movie every month.
Yeah.
Just for but
have it on while you're vacuuming.
Yeah, but just over 2 hours, very dated. I would have maybe have liked to have seen Rhoda's life outside of the house, maybe at school. If you were kind of to develop the story a little more to kind of break it out of the house.
I wonder what the other students think of her, because
Miss Fern, that's what I was thinking.
Miss Fern is a little wishy-washy because she's like, oh, like we would never like think of accusing Rhoda of anything, but also
we are.
But also we are, and she is pretty much expelled. So
she's not invited to come back.
Yeah.
Not welcome back.
So I wonder if the other adults at the school are just like, this fucking kid.
Something's off with this one.
Yeah. And in their way, their like polite society way of like addressing it is, I don't know, just the way that.
Just kick her out.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I think that the movie does a good job without showing too much of just like laying down, like we said before, no quote unquote normal kids for a picnic day outside of school are going to go in jeans. And then they show pretty much the only kid that they show is a little girl and she's in jeans. And then there's like a teenage helper and she's in jeans too, very 50s, like high-waisted with big cuffs, like these are not 501s. These are like dungarees. These are dungarees. But yeah, I think they do a good job of kind of showing that without expanding, but it would have been nice to see it. Because I do love the stuff outside. And I think what's really cool is when they show, there's a really cool shot of like the lake, and then you kind of see like way off in the distance, like a little church town. Like,
I love those. I love those opening and ending scenes because you see these beautiful painted backdrops.
Are they matte paintings?
Yeah, they're probably matte paintings. This is all shot on the Warner lot. I mean, this is a very photographed pond and street that you see this show up everywhere. I mean, this is probably where what's the town from?
It's Stars Hollow.
Stars Hollow from the Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God.
I was like, I think that gazebo's still there.
I mean, I think it's probably like the same neighborhood from Dennis the Menace from the 50s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw Norbert's house. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They don't show much of it, but from what they do show, I'm like, yep, that gazebo's still there. That's Norbert's house. That's like, okay. What is the Warner Ranch, or is that something else? Just the back lot?
The Warner Ranch is something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is just the back lot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's essentially bits and pieces of Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're not even the biggest Gilmore Girls fans, but I was like, I know Stars Hollow when I see it.
Yes. No, yeah. Gilmore Girls has come up a couple of times on my podcast for sure.
I'd like to give Gilmore Girls a proper watch because I never really watched it in its initial run. I remember when Veronica Mars moved to the CW, that Veronica Mars was after Gilmore Girls, so I would sometimes see the end of an episode. But this was also probably late season Gilmore Girls too.
Season 1 for sure. Definitely. I'd watch it. Gilmore Girls.
But then you're hooked.
Season 1, so good.
I'm already knee deep in both The Sopranos and Battlestar Galactica right now. So
I know.
It'll have to wait.
Major rewatches right now. Some big shows. Okay, let's see. All right, let's talk a little bit about Mrs. Hortense Daigle.
Oh,
Hortense. What a name. What a name that you just don't hear anymore.
Well, she even references it. She even kind of says, like, what the fuck kind of name is Hortense?
Yeah.
Hortense.
All the names in this movie, I feel like Monica and Christine are so modern sounding, and then you have Rhoda and Hortense in the same breath.
Leroy.
I love Eileen Heckart. I love her.
Oh my gosh. And to play this entire role.
Her drunk acting.
Yeah.
Half in the bag. And still it's like, this movie has a definite high camp value. It has a reputation. You can just have it on. And half the time I was screaming at the screen too, like, slap her, shake her. But, Mrs. Daigle is in there, and there's poor Mr. Daigle in the background just holding his hat, and he just looks like this little... I was like, his kid is 8? What the hell old is... But
late in life child.
And they even say that too.
They even comment on it.
She comments on it. But I don't know. There's something about both of these monologues that are just so like... They get you, man. I'm just like, oh...
Christine, have you got anything in the house to drink? Any little thing at all. I'm not the fussy type. I prefer bourbon on water, but any little thing will do. Oh, ain't we swank. Really, Plaza and Esther. I want to have a little talk with Rhoda because she knows something.
Oof.
I was seeing that her two appearances in the movie come exactly 1 hour apart at 36 minutes and an hour and 36 minutes in, and they both last... I'm seeing exactly 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah,
very
I'd say
interesting.
I
very
think she
interesting
kind of
numbers
steals
there.
the movie.
Yep.
I don't know. She's not even in it that much.
She won the Golden Globe this
does.
year.
Okay.
So good.
Okay. And this actress, Eileen Heckart,
Yes,
was
legendary.
And she was nominated along with Patty McCormick as Rhoda. They were both nominated for Best Supporting Actress for this movie.
Yeah.
Correct?
And Nancy Kelly was nominated for Best Actress.
And this was at a time, I mean, it's still kind of the case for children that you're just put in supporting.
Like
Tatum O'Neal, the lead of Paper Moon, wins for Best Supporting Actress.
Haley Steinfeld in True Grit.
Yep,
that is
the lead of
her
the movie. Yep.
That is her movie.
Yep.
Yeah. So Eileen Heckart, she's in the First Wives Club.
I definitely remember her from the First Wives Club.
Yeah, she's Dan Keaton's mom.
Yep.
So good. And I think she was in Bus Stop, I want to say, with Marilyn Monroe.
I think Bus Stop came out this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think she was in that with Marilyn Monroe.
Wow. Yeah, she has 107 acting credits on IMDb.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Quite the career.
So good.
I remember her as an older woman in things, definitely from First Wives Club.
She probably worked the round in the 1980s too. I'm sure that she shows up in an episode of Murder, She Wrote.
She did. She did a
absolutely.
Cosby Show that I remember. Murder.
Murder, She Wrote?
Oh gosh, I'm all the way back in the 50s now. I have to climb back up.
Her asking for the bourbon and water.
How she slams it down on the Pete. Okay, so Pete, you laughed when the bar
she's like
when Nancy Kelly drags out the bar cart.
And she comes out pushing this fucking bar cart full of decanted brown liqueurs,
and she's already lit.
And she just goes and helps herself, and she grabs like a tumbler.
Oh my
she grabs a tumbler
bourbon.
and just puts bourbon in it. She's like, oh my God, I love her.
Loses the Oscar to Dorothy Malone in Written on the Wind.
Oh my God, that's another movie I'm dying to do.
Okay.
I'm dying to do it.
I have an old Criterion of Written on the Wind, and I still have not watched
so
it.
Good.
I need to watch it.
Dorothy Malone is, if you want a campy, wild performance, Dorothy Malone.
Solid category. I mean, we get the two bad seed performances, Mildred Dunnock and Baby Doll, and Mercedes McCambridge for Giant. I forget that Mercedes McCambridge has that nomination for Giant.
Les Benedict.
The voice of Pazuzu, we just talked about.
And we talked about her at length for our Johnny Guitar episode.
Yeah. Yes.
The foil to Joan Crawford and Johnny Guitar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Butch icon, Mercedes McCambridge.
Yes. I'm actually not
category.
Yeah,
That's
good,
so great.
Good category. I'm actually not seeing any Murder, She Wrote on here.
I'm surprised by that.
I am surprised.
I
by
was
that
seeing
as well.
that Nancy Kelly pretty much, this was her last major movie that she just went to television work after this. Nancy Kelly loses the Oscar to Ingrid Bergman for Anastasia. Anastasia.
Controversial win.
Not a great movie. I did a watch for Anastasia when we covered the Dom Bluth animated movie, and not great.
It's definitely not Ingrid's best performance, not by a long shot.
But I'm seeing that she was in the category with Katharine Hepburn for The Rainmaker, and this is one of Deborah Kerr's nominations for The King and I.
One of her, 6 nominations?
Yeah, one of probably the movies that she should have won for.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
For The King and I.
Oh.
Deborah Kerr, the Amy Adams of her day.
Not Teen Sympathy. Have you done Teen Sympathy yet?
No.
Oh, I love her. Please be kind.
And especially with Yul Brynner winning Best Actor this year, I'm kind of surprised that Deborah Kerr wasn't just. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that they weren't a package deal as winners.
Speaking of creepy kids, Deborah Deborah Carr in The Innocents.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Nancy Kelly's wardrobe and styling in this movie is iconic. It's
pretty fierce.
Yes.
I love that she has these maxi skirts that have a lot of pockets.
A monogrammed.
She wears monogrammed blouses.
Wow. Yep. Mhm.
Popped collars. Very
classy.
Very classy. And I could not get over and stop staring at that one little curl right in the middle of her forehead.
That was a choice.
That was a choice, a stylistic choice. I think her hairstylist every morning was just like, and perfect.
And done.
Ding.
I wonder if it was symbolic. It was to suggest like the disorder, just the hint of her unraveling.
It almost looks like a little comma right in the middle of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it was
she's so together, but she's barely holding it together. So it's like maybe that suggests that her little curl.
Yeah. But I just love that Christine Penmark, Mrs. Penmark, because she's just the type of woman that had monograms embroidered onto her blouses and, just very, very proper wardrobe. One child is difficult. And I would imagine if Rhoda
Especially
was
if
that
your
one
child is Rhoda.
Yes.
Especially if Rhoda is that child.
Difficult. Yeah. Didn't really seem like they had like help. She didn't have like.
Well, they also live in an apartment. This is like a duplex situation, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Monica,
so interesting
right?
of all the drama going on in this apartment building. Do you think that their neighbors are just like, what the fuck are they arguing about today?
That creepy, weird little girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the what I'm thinking of as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, all right, what does happen if Rhoda gets away with this all, right? The body count starts piling up.
She continues to kill.
Yep.
Monica's dead.
Yeah,
Monica's dead within a week.
Monica's dead within a week, but it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? That poor Daigle child, the Daigle boy, and then Monica, and then whoever, like, it's just following Rhoda.
And then we find out
the woman from Phoenix or whatever.
The woman
Wichita, was it?
The woman that Nancy Kelly talks about.
Yeah. What
was the whole deal with that?
Rhoda wanted the like snow globe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she promised her the snow globe. But I guess she just pushed her down the stairs.
Yeah.
Get it a little faster. Couldn't wait for it. Was it a snow globe? It was like a weird, like
I think it's like a snow globe.
An ornament.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. The Christine called it a crystal ball, but it had like something inside of it. Yeah. So yeah, I think that I don't know. Maybe she'll slip through the cracks, but
It'll be another American Psycho. She just
but
with her perfect wardrobe and everything.
Yeah, seriously. But all this murder and death just follows this little girl around. Would anybody start to put two and two together?
Like the common denominator
is Rhoda. Like Miss Fern kind of figured it out. I don't know. Maybe someone else would. Mm-hmm. But that was my thought process behind it. I was like, this little girl's gonna get sloppy. Right.
Yeah.
I think
she's getting bolder too.
She's getting bolder.
She's doing it in the broad daylight.
Yeah.
With a witness that sees her leaving the dock.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But and then LeRoy, like she just goes down there, like she just grabs a pile of matches and is just like, I'm gonna go get some ice cream.
That's insane. It's insane that he runs out on fire and just dies in front of them.
Off camera, and everybody's just like, oh.
The thing about this movie
is shocking.
This movie is dark.
Yeah.
Especially for Hollywood films in the 1950s.
I know.
But you know what though? Like Christine has a decent reaction. A man burns to death in front of her, and she's just like, Mama, I need a minute. And Monica's just like, these things happen.
Yeah.
Monica is wild.
And meanwhile, Rhoda is playing the piano in her room.
And it just gets more and more intense.
Oh, that music. I texted Scott earlier and I was like, did the music drive you insane yet?
Yes.
Oh, this score is also at a 10 too.
Yeah. No, more like a 14.
Yeah.
But I feel like Monica could be a little sociopathic too, because she's just like,
Monica has
Leroy.
Monica has some shady ass comments in this movie too.
She's a big old bitch. She's just like, it's just
Maybe
Leroy.
Monica's the nurturer. She's the one who nurtured Rhoda into what she did. Yeah.
Seriously, because she is just like, well, what are you going to do? He just burned to death in front of us. Pull yourself together, Christine. Like,
what's wrong with you?
Cold-blooded, Monica.
Yeah.
I do have to say, parts of the movie that I probably have the least amount of patience with if I was doing this adaptation is I think the scenes with the men. Is that just kind of the talky scenes with Rhoda's dad and the family friend? Is he a psychologist?
I thought it was Christine's dad.
One of them is Christine's father. Yeah. And he is, I think he was a psychologist. But there's also the two men that one of them is Monica's brother. Mm-hmm. And one of them is just like their friend.
And one of them has the very inappropriate comment to a child.
Oh, about Rhoda?
When she curtsies to him. It's just like, don't leave these two in a room together.
Ew.
Ugh, gross.
Well, yeah, and then when, do you remember when Christine looks out the window and she's like, what did you just say to Rhoda? To Leroy. She's like, you're not going to talk to her again.
She's just like, no, don't talk to her anymore. Because
grown man talking. I mean, we know what was really happening, but it's just creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, really, like, what business does he have? It's like, okay, yes, he's the help or whatever, and you can't just be like, don't look me in the eye, like J-Lo status. But at the same time, this is a little child, and you don't need to be talking to her.
Yeah.
Without anybody else present.
Too.
Yeah, you need to like keep some distance there.
But yeah, I think that these scenes with the guys, I think maybe slows the movie down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you kind of really see its
That's
dated.
You feel the 2 hours.
You can really see the data quality of the dialogue. Maybe is these scenes that are just them sitting down, talking, just giving exposition, because that's just how plays were written back then. Is that everything is just exposition? But I mean, her backstory is also insane.
Christine's backstory. Yes, Christine's backstory is wild. And when she finally confronts the father and the repressed memories from when she was 2 years old.
Oh, Christine.
I bet that repressed memories were something that was being talked a lot in psychology too, which are certain kind of like repressed memories. Like, has some of it been debunked? I don't know.
You know what this makes me think of? We could go down a whole rabbit hole about like movies about mental illness from this era. But when was the 3 Faces of Eve? Was that around this time too?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to know now.
Here, I'll check.
Hold on. Let's see. 3 Faces, 1957. Okay.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah, this was very like popular psychology.
Yeah, and like you said, Scott, I feel like some of it can get debunked.
Does some of it hold up now? I don't know.
Well, it's like split personalities is like no longer
like a Sybil type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Or the 3 Faces of Eve.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff is like, well. So, but yeah, no, you're right. There's the first scene where that's the scene where Monica says she met Freud. That one is a little bit like, all right, what are we doing here? But I do appreciate Christine's uncovered memories from, and again, her father says, and he says, how could you remember this? You were 2. And she goes on, and she like even remembers her name before she was adopted because they changed the name. Yeah. And it was something crazy, something like Nordic, very like Swedish sounding. I couldn't even like.
I can't tell you.
It was Ingold. It was Ingold something. It was like, what the
Looks like, seems like she would grow up in St. Olaf or something.
Yeah. Yes.
What was the choice? Why the choice with that name though?
Ingold. I don't know. Yeah. Ingold Denker.
Wow.
So weird.
Ingold Denker. And the woman's name was, something Denker. Bessie Denker was the old serial killer, like, mama.
Yeah.
Where Rhoda got it from. Yeah, so crazy.
Wow.
Her Eileen Wuornos mother.
Eileen Wuornos, I hesitate to
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, Lizzie Borden. I hesitate to call Eileen Wuornos a serial killer. I think it's a very nuanced situation there. But Lizzie Borden, 40 whacks with a wet noodle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Well, also, was Lizzie Borden a serial killer or was she a mass murderer? Because there is a difference.
Just killed her
Borden,
family.
well, it was just her parents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was her dad and her stepmom.
Yeah. But I mean, wow, was it gruesome?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There was a television movie starring Elizabeth Montgomery as Lizzie Borden from the 70s.
That's insane because I listened to that on the pod. I listened to a podcast cover that TV movie.
Oh my God. I would love to watch it.
And then there was speaking of TV movies, there's a whole Lifetime television universe of The Bad Seed now.
The Bad with the little girl. Was it Kieran Shipka?
McKenna Grace.
I keep confusing her with Kieran
Well,
Shipka.
she looks like Kieran Shipka, and she was cast as young Sabrina on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Rob Lowe directed a made-for-television movie that I completely forgot about until yesterday with McKenna Grace and Patty McCormick. Yep. Mm-hmm. And in that version, she doesn't die at the end because there is a television sequel, The Return of the Bad Seed.
Yes.
Or The Bad Seed Returns.
I saw that came up on Google when I typed in Bad Seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to ask, Patty Duke or Patty McCormick?
I mean, it's hard.
Sparkle.
I mean, they're hard to kind of compare because I think that it's just kind of a different body of work for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just had to ask, though.
I mean, I am sure that Patty Duke was probably at least considered before they settled with the Broadway cast. I was seeing that Rosalind Russell was sort of the Jack Warner choice if they were going to cast a star in this movie for Christine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Betty Davis, I think.
Or Joan. Too.
Yeah. Oh God, Joan.
I think this might be a little more Joan.
Yeah, you think so?
Than Bette Davis. I think that Bette Davis would probably throw down with this child.
I mean, Joan probably would too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joan would have actually slapped her. All the times that I was like, real? Slap her! Joan would have slapped her. Betty Davis would have been rolling around on the ground with her.
Oh my God. But the voices, I mean, there's those
oh my
voices. As far as drunk acting goes, I mean, Eileen Heckart against Betty Davis in All About Eve.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And this performance, she's sloshed her entire performance in this movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Which means she was sloshed for 300 performances.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Every night and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's wild because that's like a level that you have to keep up of like, all right.
Patty McCormick says that she was never that close with her and she just thinks that it was just a character process.
The character thing.
I can't really get all that close with this girl because I just have to go in a very dark mental state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she really got along with Nancy Kelly and then the woman who played Monica. She said they were both like sort of like grand dames, but very warm and kind to her, which is nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
It's good to hear that a child actor in the 50s wasn't totally
had
right?
a good experience.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting clip of Patty presenting. They call it Best Cartoon. It's animated short. It was during the Academy Awards ceremony that she has a little bit with
Jerry Lewis.
Thank you. And now to present the award for the best cartoon, the child star of The Bad Seed who killed the critics and most of the cast, Miss Patty McCormick.
Good evening, Mr. Lewis.
Won't you point that at me? It might be loaded, baby.
You don't have to be afraid of a little girl like me.
I don't have to be afraid of a little girl like you. Why?
I'm only 10 years old, going on 11.
And I'm only 31, and I'm going on home.
The nominations for the best cartoon are...
Yeah, I don't know. He's like, she goes to shake his hand and he like refuses to shake her hand.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if it quite lands. And also, there's something about Jerry Lewis's voice that it sounds like a comedian doing an impression of Jerry Lewis, that it's a little jarring when you see it in person because it sounds fake.
Yeah.
It still sounds like he's doing a bit. Yeah.
What did you think about that John Waters clip I sent you?
Love it. I'll cut it in.
Now, I pretended I was Rhoda Penmark for a long time, but I didn't tell anyone. I watched The Bad Seed over and over, and I would go to school, and the teacher would say, "So, hi, Johnny, did you do your homework?" And I'd say yes. But in my mind, I was thinking, "Give me those shoes," which is my favorite line that Rhoda Penmark says in the movie. And I'd repeat that line over and over like a mantra, and it would get me into a frenzy of childhood obsession that made me such a happy child, actually. I was doing this act once at a horror convention, and in the question and answer period, a middle-aged woman said, "Could you tell us a little bit more about The Bad Seed?" And I was telling about the great ad campaign, The Big Shocker, and how it was on Broadway. And finally she said, "Because I am Patty McCormick." And it was like, whoa! And she came up on stage, and we embraced, and it was great. It was like being on John Waters' This Is Your Life.
I mean, this is a very John Waters type of movie because... Okay. What is so deliciously camp than a bitchy child? And I think that John Waters...
Give me those shoes!
And give me those shoes. And John Waters talks about, I think that for Pecker, that when he was giving direction to the little girl in Pecker that is just kind of always hopped up on sugar, that children never play crazy in movies, and how something like that is so much fun.
Yeah.
To see just a child being crazy...
Like a demented.
A demented child. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. I didn't notice the subject of your email until like after I opened it because it was just give me those shoes.
I mean, when she really flies off the handle with LeRoy and is just like, "You give me those shoes, you bring them to me," like, it's intense. And then later on, when when Christine is finally just really questioning her and is just like, "You tell me what happened," and she just is like, he just didn't give me the medal,
when she's trying to get rid of the shoes,
and I hit him with my shoes.
That performance is intense of Nancy Kelly.
Yeah,
when she slams those shoes down
on the table,
yeah,
breaks a little like candy dish or whatever. Yeah.
Another crazy line is when Nancy Kelly says, "I know you're an adroit liar."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Words.
I love it. And I know you're an adroit liar.
You're an adroit liar.
And that's the thing. She knows it. She knows that this kid is a liar, and that she, and it doesn't like, I don't know if it's a thing that like Rhoda believes the lies or if she just doesn't care. Like, so she can just say them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And not feel bad about telling lies, telling fibs or whatever. All that
she doesn't even think about it. It's just kind of like a compulsive thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And when she finally does talk about it, she just says things like, "Well, I don't know what the hell he wanted the medal for."
Fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he just did what I said, then none of this would have happened.
I think that she says something around the lines of, "Well, Claude wasn't that smart of a kid, so figures that he drowned it.
It's not a loss.
Figures that he ended up in the pond."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God, poor little Claude and poor Hortense. Your Aunt Hortense, come give your Aunt Hortense a hug.
Definitely, gonna die of liver poisoning.
Yeah. Old Mr. Daigle's probably gonna be a widower.
Oh God.
That poor man. He's just like, "I'm sorry, I don't know."
But the sheer insanity of that last shot where she's struck by lightning is insane.
Yeah. Oh my God. The whole
There's smoke.
It's an explosion.
I almost have a memory that it's not on camera. That like they just do something with like the camera panning like the other way and you just hear it. But oh no, you see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how they did that safely.
Yeah. Look, probably just a quick cut.
And you see the boathouse that they've referenced to. That Claude was hiding in.
I love that they refer to it as a wharf, but it's just like a tiny dock.
Yeah. It's a little dinky little dock.
I mean, just as she's describing this final showdown with Claude. Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That
went down bad.
That like he ended up in the water and then she beated him down more with the shoe.
Yeah.
To get him to drown.
Head.
Yeah.
And his hands.
Yeah.
Probably more or less like holding his head underwater.
Yeah.
Well, as he was trying to climb his way out,
Did she knock him out?
No, she was hitting his hands.
Yeah,
because he had the crescent moon marks on the back of his
and
hands.
his head, his forehead.
Head. Well, she hit him in the forehead first, and he started bleeding, and that's when he fell in. But then he started climbing out, so she hit his hands so that he couldn't hold on to the dock.
It's a good murder weapon because you would never think about
tap shoes
or a child's shoes, too.
Wouldn't
that she then incinerated?
Yep,
or attempted to incinerate.
House incinerator is also something that you never see anymore.
Oh, no,
Yeah. Doesn't seem very safe.
No.
But that's another thing that Monica's just like, all this shit's going down, and she's just like, all right, get the shoes. Get the shoes and throw them in the damn incinerator. Do it.
That's what made me think of Ginger Snaps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to cover this up.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
I don't know. I think
and Rhoda even asked, like, well, what are you going to do with the taps? Like, when you find them, like, what did Leroy kept calling them cleats? Those shoes are those cleats.
What was up with his accent?
I don't know. I think he was given some like Bayou, like Cajun.
Yeah, I was like, where are we? Where'd he come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Rhoda, the actress, is from Brooklyn, I think.
Yep. Right. But she referred to a Scuppernong arbor. Can I go read into the Scuppernong arbor
what the hell is
in the
that?
shade? Well, I remember in To Kill a Mockingbird, they talked about Scuppernong trees.
Oh, is this supposed to be in the South?
So I think it's supposed to be in the South.
But none of them are doing accents except Leroy.
Except Leroy. I remember in To
They're
Kill
all
a
New
Mockingbird.
Yorkers, right?
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Yeah.
So funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they referenced Scuppernongs in To Kill a Mockingbird, and when I read that initially in high school, I was like, "What in the shit is this?" And I think I had to look up like in an encyclopedia, like what it was, because it was the 90s.
So good.
Yeah, but calling it an arbor. Mm-hmm. Just say tree, little girl.
Arbor.
Just say tree. That's when I was just like, this kid needs a slap. Calling it an arbor. Shut up. So that made me think that it was probably in the South somewhere, and he's really the only one doing it. Is Leroy intellectually challenged? I don't know.
No, he's smart and mean.
He's smart and mean. Okay, so this movie is dark the whole way through. This is a little girl who is a murderess. But there's just something about Christine feeding Rhoda a handful of sleeping pills.
Sure.
And just like, all right, let me
Her
finish
new
your
vitamins.
book. Yeah, your new vitamins, they're new. So many, mother. Yep.
And then I'm going to take them too when you're done.
And then you think, oh, okay, so she'll probably take another handful herself. No, she walks into the other room and shoots herself. What?
Crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. And like Rhoda's like creepy little delivery. What kind of juice is it? She says like,
apricot juice.
I love apricot juice.
You don't even need ice for it.
Line.
You don't even need ice. What? Oh my God. Weirdo.
So are we led to believe that she just she must clearly miss her head. That it just kind of grazes
from the looks of her in the hospital bed.
That lighting in the hospital bed was pretty fierce.
It was fierce. Her face
of how Nancy was lit.
The full beat mode.
Wait, now that you're bringing this up. So when I was in Palm Springs, I was actually there for a film noir festival.
Ooh.
And one of the movies was, it was a Humphrey Bogart movie.
Big Sleep.
What was it called? But the actress in it had a scene where she had the same thing with the Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
That was it. So it ended with the femme fatale in a hospital bed and looking fierce AF. Like right before she dies. Yeah. The actress, Elizabeth Scott. Yeah. She gets in this terrible car wreck, but her face is just full makeup at the end, and she's like literally on her deathbed, but she has this bandage around her head and just looks so good, before she dies. So good.
An interesting thing I like about this movie, especially at this time in movies, is all of the men are pretty clueless.
Yeah.
And especially for just such a male-driven time, that this is a pretty female-led movie where the men don't really help them at all.
Nope.
In the story. Like, they're pretty useless.
Pretty useless, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially the father. It's like, we know he's in the army, in the military, and so he has to go to DC for whatever reason.
I think what gets me is the dad.
Yeah. But when he comes back, he's just like, Rhoda's playing him like a fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dad's just like...
Like, you don't really suspect anything went down.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, my God.
Crazy. But, yeah, it seems like, like I said, when she's like, oh, so many pills, Mother, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take mine, too. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. But then you go and you hear this gunshot, and it's like, holy cow.
It's fun. At that point, it's just funny. At that point, you just laugh. You're just like, what?
Like, it's being played
happened?
as almost like it's a dark comedy at this point.
It's so
But
sad.
so then we see her in the bed, and she has just
a bandage
around her face. Like, she just like shot off into the distance, and maybe some like glass.
She wasn't trying to
actually.
Yeah.
And we're led to believe that Rhoda just did she throw up the pills? I don't know.
Guess so.
She was in a coma.
Wasn't enough.
Bit.
That reveal of Rhoda coming around the hallway,
skipping down the hall. You're
just like, oh my God.
Wow.
Fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she just didn't give her enough. I don't know. But you're like, oh, great. She made it. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, those are like endings, right?
Yep.
Is it more effective if she lived? You're just like, oh, what's going to happen now? How many people is she going to kill?
Sure. Like, there's no ominous shot of Rhoda just like standing in the hallway.
Yeah.
Norman Bates style.
I think
where it's just sort of like gives a close up.
I think it's the conversation with her and her dad about Monica's lovebirds.
Yes.
Yeah. She just wants that bird.
Yeah. Just like, Monica said she'll give me the lovebird when she dies, and it's like, all right.
How long, Daddy? How long do lovebirds live?
Not as long as people.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're gonna go sunbathing.
Good night.
Sunbathing. A sunbath.
A sunbath. Yep.
Another double indemnity reference when Walter Neff comes in. She said, I was just taking my bath. She meant she was taking a sunbath. Barbara Stanwyck taking her sunbath.
Crazy. Mm-hmm.
Crazy
times.
That house is in the Hollywood Hills. I've done a drive-by.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've never.
That's
seen
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's like that's the ominous, and maybe in a movie today, like
you would have to do an ending like that.
Yeah,
and you would have to set it up for the sequel.
It's less
too.
It's less. It's almost less satisfying now if she gets comeuppance.
Sure.
I don't know.
It would be like a Mary Lou prom night 2 situation.
Oh my God.
I still really like the ending. I think that this type of weird movie just kind of needs that Deus Ex Machina ending.
Yeah.
To get rid of this little girl that,
and
of course...
it was just like outrageously funny.
Yeah,
because it was so ridiculous.
Of course she's struck by lightning.
Yeah, because she got at the pool skimmer and she got struck by lightning.
Okay, so do you think it was the pool skimmer? Or did she actually find the metal? And that's what,
and she had a flashlight.
Yeah.
I thought it was the pool skimmer.
It's probably
it was a big
it's
metal
probably the pool skimmer. Yeah,
big pole.
Well, there's is there kind of subtle references in the script about her being struck by lightning or something early on? I think there is. I think there's a little foreshadowing with it.
Oh, I think you're right, but now I can't think.
I can't remember what the line is. It's when she's talking to one of the old men, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
I just love the button on the end where they're like, we need to lighten this up a little bit. Let's do a good old-fashioned curtain call.
The curtain call.
I love it. I think it's charming.
The curtain call is amazing.
Yeah.
When she spanks Rhoda, I bet that just like brought down the house on Broadway.
I remember that to this day because I hadn't seen it, since high school. But I remember to this day her spanking her husband. Just how funny that was.
And I think that Mervyn LeRoy put that in there to kind of break the tension of this dark movie. That he just wanted to end on something that was just
it was funny.
That was just funny.
Just acting, guys.
That maybe just kind of really reels it in that this is like
it's not real.
This is supposed to be crazy. This is like almost. I don't know if the term black comedy would have been a thing,
right?
When kind of genre of movies of the 1950s, but
It's crazy. It's like, all right, now a moment of your time, and to go through everybody.
And don't talk about the ending to anybody. I love that. Also, just kind of very pre-Psycho.
The shocker.
Don't spoil the ending of this movie to your friends. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We always talk about that, of just kind of pre-Psycho coming out in 1950 or in 1960, of just movie going with audiences. You just showed up to the theater and you just walked in.
Yeah, we've read about that.
Yeah.
We've heard tell that like you would just show up at the movie theater and you would just walk in, and then it would just start again. So if you wanted to see the beginning, you watch the beginning and then you leave.
And just how they marketed Psycho was with the ad times when it was going to beginning of this is when you have to be seated in the movie theater.
And then before Janet Leigh.
Yeah. And
like
also
at 7:00 when the movie's beginning.
But also not letting in latecomers. Just saying you have to wait for the next one.
Alamo Drafthouse rules.
Yeah. But I think this movie kind of, it works on the same level as Psycho. I think I see the camp quality.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I appreciate it for that, but it's also effective. Mm-hmm. Like it's creepy when it needs to be, and I think it's like memorable and sad when it needs to be.
Yeah,
because of the whole like
Mrs.
Daigle.
Yeah, kind of pulls you into the reality of what's happened. With this little boy.
Yes. Oh goodness.
I showed Pete a clip of an episode of 6 Feet Under. That it's a group of gay men that are watching The Bad Seed and giving their bitchy, colorful commentary as they're watching it. And the thing about 6 Feet Under is that every episode opens with a death. Yeah. And it's a man in hospice, and he's watching The Bad Seed with all of his friends. And he dies. Yeah. Watching The Bad Seed. What a way to go.
The way he lived.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What a way to go.
Yep.
Wasn't struck by lightning, though.
No.
Died in the hospital.
So Patty McCormick continued acting.
I don't know if it could ever really compete with something like The Bad Seed.
Yeah.
I also love the Oscar genre of child that is nominated for Oscar. I was writing down some.
And then,
And then
I mean, there's a lot of these that they ended up going to do a lot of work after. Can you maybe name some Oscar-nominated children?
That kept going?
I mean, just Oscar-nominated children just in general. I mean, of course, Anna Paquin wins for piano.
Haley Steinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum O'Neal.
Tatum won.
Haley Joel Osment, right?
Haley Joel Osment. Justin Henry for Kramer versus Kramer. He was like 7. He was a small child when he was nominated.
What's that little Tremblay boy? Was he nominated?
Jacob Tremblay.
Jacob Tremblay was not nominated for Room. He should have
been.
The
little girl in Beast of the Southern Wild.
Quvenzhané Wallis. Mary Badham from To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mary Badham.
Mary Badham.
We just talked
Quinn
Patty
Cummings for The Goodbye Girl. Patty Duke wins for The Miracle Worker. Brandon DeWilde and Shane. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shane I've not seen. But before this, they had the juvenile Oscars.
They still had the juvenile Oscar
the one
this
that
time.
Judy won.
Yeah, and
they still
Rooney,
had the juvenile Oscar in the 1950s because I think that Haley Mills was the last
So it
actor
had to
win
be a
it.
big deal for Patty to be nominated in the regular running.
Yep.
When there was Juvenile
They
Awards
knew that
she
like
should have
this
gotten.
performance has enough weight behind it that we can get it a nomination.
Give me those shoes.
Give me those shoes. Give me that Oscar.
And you know, at that award ceremony that she was at with Jerry Lewis, she pretty much was dressed like Rhoda. She has
So
a
funny.
little pinafore. With
I thought it was
big
so funny
crinoline.
when she's presenting Best Cartoon. And the winner... Okay, this was also wild. There is only one person...
There were 3 nominations.
3 nominations.
It was the same director.
Same director. Yep, and he wins from Mr. Magoo short.
Yeah, he won from Mr. Magoo.
So he knew he was going home with an Oscar that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wins for a Mr. Magoo short. But I love that Patty walks up to the little podium. She's carrying her purse. Could you imagine now, just like anybody presenting on the broadcast, and you just bring out your purse and you just set it down?
A woman can never be sure.
It's just so funny. A very different time with award shows and Oscars. It was very less formal.
Aretha would have done it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a fun fact.
Oh, yes, let's hear
it. So this movie, novel, then movie, inspired a musical called Ruthless the Musical. Oh
my God.
An off-Broadway musical in 1992. And the understudies for the little girl whose name is Tina in this musical, not Rhoda. Guess who the understudies were? I guess
Understudies.
What year is this?
What year are we talking?
1992.
Okay, 1992.
Huge names. Huge.
Okay, so Christina Ricci would have probably been making movies at this time, so it was not her.
Maya Bialik is too old.
Maya Bialik was too old.
One of them is one of the biggest pop girlies ever.
Britney Spears.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And the other one
she was
is one of our A-list actresses.
Natalie Portman.
Yes.
Wow.
Sure.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. I don't usually get those. I knew that Natalie did theater, and I knew that Britney tried to do theater.
Oh, Brittany. Are they like the same age, Brittany?
Probably roughly.
So I guess
they probably both would have graduated high school in 99.
Brittany was born in 81. Natalie was born in 81.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Age?
So another little kind of fun fact is that there was a 1985 television movie.
Yeah, there's a whole legacy of made-for-TV movies of The Bad Seed.
The 1985 television movie, all the characters are analogous to the movie. Christine Penmark, Lynn Redgrave as Monica Breedlove.
No way.
Wow.
Blair Brown as Christine Penmark. I know Blair Brown did a lot of TV. I think she was on like Law and Order or something. David Carradine as Leroy.
Wow.
And as
who's Rhoda?
Rachel, not Rhoda.
Oh, they
her
changed
name
it.
is Carrie Wells, and she didn't do a lot. She did a couple of Highway to Heavens.
What year is this?
This is 1985.
Okay.
Now, the only thing in here is that auditioned for Rachel and not Rhoda is Alyssa Milano and Drew Barrymore. So that would have
whose careers have been intersecting since they were young.
Since they were young. Yeah.
Wow.
So also it was written as a television pilot, but the ABC executives turned it down as a series, and so
how could that be a series?
How could it be a series?
It's just her murders.
Yeah,
I'm also seeing a Japanese made-for-TV movie that is a Bad Seed remake. So interesting, just like the television legacy of something like The Bad Seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. But, I mean, great property. I would love to see the 85 miniseries that...
I bet there's a stream of it.
There's probably a stream of it on YouTube. That's probably...
An 80s version of this. Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. The little girl has...
No monogram blouses in the 80s.
I know. The little girl has brown hair. We'll see. I can't even tell if it's set in the 80s. There's only a few photos from it, and it might even be period. It's hard to tell. But probably should start wrapping it up because
yeah,
hard out tonight. This is. I mean, I could talk about this movie for a lot longer.
It's such a fun movie.
There's a lot to mine here,
Yes.
but we do need to wrap it up. But Emily, thank you so much once again for coming on our show.
My pleasure.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what you've got going on?
Yeah. So I have a podcast called Female Driven Podcast, as Pete mentioned earlier, or Scott. One of you mentioned it earlier.
Scott did.
But I do that with my friends Kristen and Rachel, and we cover female driven cinema. And our latest episode was on Twilight, and then Rachel's coming out to record. Well, not to record, but she's going to come visit me over this weekend, and we're going to record a couple of episodes. So
fun.
We'll have a couple of surprising treats coming out for you.
I've considered doing Twilight on the show.
Yeah,
I could see those movies having.
I
could see those movies having a big lesbian following, especially with Kristen Stewart.
I mean, Kristen,
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Stewart. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, for sure. All right, female driven. So they can find you anywhere podcasts are available.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And on Instagram, Female Driven Podcast. So come check me out.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say drop your socials. Perfect. So go give Emily a follow and go listen to the show, listeners. But thank you so much once again for coming on, and we'd love to have you on again, and we'd love to be guests on your show again.
Yes. After the election, I was so sad, and I texted Scott and told him I listened to our episode on Meet Me in St. Louis to just up.
Yeah. Get your mind off things. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, so fun.
Indeed.
Oh, one more movie about a psychotic woman that we have to cover, and I keep saying it, is Leave Her to Heaven.
Yes, I need to see Leave Her to Heaven. It is on the Criterion Channel, and I have the Criterion Channel.
Yeah.
It is, it's Gone Girl, 1945.
Yes, I need to see it.
And she wears monogrammed clothing.
Ooh, love it.
She's like the hottest bitch you've ever seen. Tierney, oh my God, she's to die for.
Amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
All right, listeners, we'll get ready for some more podcast cross promotion as we jump back and forth from each other's shows.
Hell
so keep an eye out for that. But thanks again for coming on. Listeners, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And welcome back, listeners, and thanks for sticking around to the very end.
Yeah.
Special thanks to our guest this week, Emily Ollero Jones. Go check out Female Driven.
Check out our episodes.
Podcast.
We did Meet Me in St. Louis with her and Johnny Guitar.
Yes, indeed. And you can check out episodes that we're not on. But you can start with ours since you're listening to this one. But Female Driven Podcast. Lots of fun. Mostly classic era films over there. So hence the bad seed on today's episode. So thank you very much, Emily. Always welcome back on the show. But I think right now, it's about that time.
For Patreon shout-outs?
Patreon shout-outs. We would like to say a great big thank you and hello to all of our awesome active patrons. We've got Holly, Kaikin, Kelsey, Andrew, Stephen, Vanessa, Leah, SB, Brian, Richard, Mark, Jeff, Deja, Amy, Erica, Anna, Mitchie, our friends at Hetty, Drew, Andy, Kate, Pep, Roberto, Daisy, Kelly, Chrissy, Stephen, Laura, Thomas, Lori, Brenna, Jess, Lawrence, Lisa, Alexis, Thomas, Millie, Benny, Melanie, Susan, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Josh, Aaron, Nick and Shannon, and Christine, and guess who? Ruffino. You guys, thank you so much for being patrons.
We're going into the holiday times on the podcast, and we're going to have some really fun Patreon content.
Yes, indeed.
For all of you. So perfect time to sign up.
Absolutely. Head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay to check out the tiers. There's 3 levels. At $5, you get the TV that keeps us gay. We are doing, like we said, we're doing some holiday stuff for December. We just did a Thanksgiving Friends episode. Before that, we did Halloween with Roseanne. So we're, keeping on theme for TV. There's a lot of stuff at the TV at the $5 tier. There's a whole season of Drag Race All-Stars thrown in there. There's a summer series we did on Beverly Hills 90210. So there's a lot of really fun content at $5. And at the $10 level, you get all of that, plus our Watch With Us commentary bonus episode each month.
I haven't decided what we're doing for our Christmas Watch With Us. But
yeah,
it'll be really fun.
We're still thinking about it. If you have patrons, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to hear us cover, go ahead and shoot us a message. Anyone can shoot us a message, actually.
Of course.
We have an email, moviesthatmadeusgay@gmail.com. You can always feel free to shoot us any sort of message you like. We're also very active on Instagram, where we'd love for you to follow us at moviesthatmadeusgay on Instagram. We're most active there on socials.
Yeah, and while you're at it, give us 5 stars. We would love to read some kind words.
Yes, indeed. If you listen on Apple Podcasts and you have an iPhone, Apple Podcasts is right there in your phone. It's built into your iPad. It's built into your phone. So go ahead and search for Movies That Made Us Gay, and when you find us, smash that 5-star rating. And if you want to write us a little note, we'll read it on an upcoming episode. Yeah. You can also leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. And I think you could leave comments there, but it's a little kind of weird over on Spotify. So, it's Spotify Wrapped season. So if you're a Spotify user, check out your top podcasts and see if
tag
we're
us
on
in
there.
them. We've been seeing them all week. Yes, I love that kind of stuff.
We'll repost that. I love that kind of stuff. So, check out your Spotify Wrapped for your podcast listens. Apple Replay doesn't include podcasts, but
it should, though.
It should. And there's a lot
Maybe
of
they'll get around to it
really
next
fun
year.
Stuff in Apple Replay. So, give us 5 stars, write us a review, all that fun stuff. So, we're on Instagram at Movies That Made Us Gay. We're on Blue Sky at MTMUG Pod. And then the rest of the Blue Sky one, it's like BSKY, whatever. So check us out over there. And you can follow us on all the socials. Please do. If you want to follow our personals, my name is Pete. I'm at Peter Lasagna on Instagram.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. We watch movies all the time, so Scott's always updating his letterbox.
I'm so excited for our holiday stuff that we're going to be covering in the podcast. It's going to be a fun rest of the month.
Yeah.
It might even bleed a little into January. We usually take some time off in January, but our season might be bleeding into the new year a little bit.
Okay, listeners, if you are longtime listeners, then you'll know we're on the countdown now to our yearly little break. We take a couple weeks off at the beginning of the year, but we have a couple episodes banked in the can, so you might get at least one after the new year, and then we'll go on our break for a couple of weeks. We'll be back with fresh episodes in February, but that's a few weeks away. So keep listening.
Yeah, we still got the rest of the month.
Keep listening through all of December for some really fun holiday episodes.
The start of it for next week, we're doing a Rankin Bass episode, which is we've already recorded that, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, we love our Rankin Bass stop motion holiday specials and the hand drawn ones. We just watched Frosty the Snowman.
Yep,
it was on right now. We had to pause it to record this little outro. So thanks for listening, everybody. There's tons of new stuff coming your way. We'll be back soon.
Bye.
Bye.